Well, hi everyone. All right, let's do this practice test. So we're going to solve by factoring, and we got to use the zero product property on this. So 2x squared minus 3x minus 5 equals 0. And we can set up grouping, or you can just try to figure it out. I'm going to set up grouping. I'm going to, what will multiply to negative 10 and what will add to negative 3. And I think negative 10, so I need negative 5. Yeah, negative 5 times 2, negative 5 plus 2. So 2x squared minus 5x plus 2x, that's how I'm splitting up the 3x here, minus 5. This got x in it, so let's go x times 2x minus 5. And there's no common factor, so I'll go 1 times 2x minus 5 there. So my factoring is the GCF, the 2x minus 5 times x plus 1 equals 0. And I'll solve for both parts. Okay, so I'll add 5, 2x equals 5, divide by 2, x equals 5 halves. I'll subtract 1, or x equals negative 1. Okay. This we're going to solve by completing the square. And I'm going to set this up. I'm going to take x squared minus 4x. I'm going to add 1 to both sides, equals 1. And I'm going to do the b over 2 squared, or the negative 4 over 2, this b value, squared, and that's negative 2 squared, which is 4. So I'm going to add 4 here, and I'll add 4 here. And then I will have x minus 2 squared equals 5. I'll take the square root of both sides and the plus or minus square root here. So x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 5. I'll add 2 to both sides. And my two answers are x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of 5. 2 plus the square root of 5, 2 minus the square root of 5. Alright, I am going to do kind of the same thing here. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to divide everything by 2. I have x squared minus 7 halves x minus 1 half equals 0. X squared minus 7 halves x plus something. I'm going to add 1 half to both sides, so there's 1 half plus that same amount. I'm adding a half to both sides. The b over 2. So the negative 7 over 2 over 2, and then squared. That is negative 7/4 squared, which is 49 over 16. So I'm going to add 49 over 16 and 49 over 16 here. Half is 8/16 and 49/16. That is 57 over 16. This is x minus, I always write that out because I know that's what needs to be here for the square to be complete. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And this is x minus 7/4. This is plus or minus, equals plus or minus square root of 57 over 16. Now square root of 57 over the square root of 16, that's the square root of 57 over 4. So let me come over here. X minus 7/4 equals plus or minus the square root of 57/4. So when I add 7/4 to both sides, I get x equals 7/4 plus or minus square root of 57/4. And I could do that if you put it into 1, you got 7 plus or minus the square root of 57/4 is one fraction, but two solutions there. All right. Now, use the quadratic formula. X equals negative b. I got music in the background. I will not do that. Okay. A is 9, B is 30, C is 25. So I'm going to go negative 30 plus or minus the square root of 30 squared minus 4 times 9 times 25 over 2 times 9. I like to figure out the discriminant, this part, these numbers right here. 30 times 30, that's 3 times 3, which is 9 with 2 zeros, that's 900. 4 times 25 is 100, times 9 is 900. 900 minus 900 is 0. So I've got 30 plus or minus 0, which is 30, over 18, divide by 6. We're looking at 5/3. So this just has one solution, 5/3. I'm going to multiply this thing out by the least common denominator, which would be 8. Half of 8 is 4x squared. 8 times 3/8x is 3x. 2 times 8, there's an equals there, equals 16. And then I'll subtract 16 from both sides, because that's what's got to happen. Plus 3x minus 16 equals 0. Alright, 64. 8 times 8, that's 16 times 4. I don't think this is going to factor. Just running through numbers in my head real quick. Oh, I'm supposed to use quadratic formula anyway. Never mind. So, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 3 squared minus 4 times negative 16 over 2 times 4. B4AC. Okay. X equals negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 256. 9, that's 265 over 8. So it's negative, well, that's good. I'm going to leave it just like that, because I don't think we're going to simplify that radical any. So, all right. This one. A is 2, B is negative 1, and C is negative 1. X is negative B, 1, plus or minus the square root of negative 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 1 over 2 times 2. Okay. It's 1 plus or minus, this is 1, 4 times 2 is 8, negative 1, 1 minus negative 8, that is positive 9 over 4. So it's 1 plus or minus 3 over 4. 1 plus 3 is 4 over 4, which is 1. 1 minus 3 is negative 2 over 4. which is negative 1/2. So 1 and negative 1/2 there. All right, this next part, we are writing in a plus bi form. Okay, so I'm going to simplify this radical. And to do that, negative 1 times 36 times 2. So this is I. Square root of 36 is 6, and then the square root of 2. Okay, so I'm going to go 7 minus 6 radical 2i. And 6i radical 2 would be okay also. This is a little better, though, as far as a plus bi form. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So that's 16 over 10,000. Negative 1 times. So that is I times the square root of 16 over the square root of 10,000. Square root of negative 1's I, then square root of 16, that's 4, and this is 100. 1, 2, 3, yeah, there's 4 zeros there. 100 times 100 would have 4 zeros also. So that's I times 4 over 100, which is I times 1 over 25. So let's write that as 0 plus 1/25 I. Or if you just wrote 1/25 I or I over 25, that's okay also. All right. Adding complex numbers. Combining like terms is it. Negative 2 plus 7, that's 5. 3i minus 11i is negative 8i. 5 minus 8i there. Okay, negative 9 minus 5i. Now minus here, please just try to avoid the temptation to FOIL if you see something like this, because that's just the wrong operation. So negative 8 here, and then positive 7i. Negative 9 minus 8 is negative 17. Negative 5i plus 7i is positive 2i. Now here's where we're going to want to FOIL. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 10i is 50i. Negative 20 times 3 is negative 60i. Negative 20 times 10i, that's negative 200i squared. So 50i minus 60i is negative 10i. And this is negative 200 times negative 1, which is positive 200. So plus 200. So 215 minus 10i is what I'm getting there. All right, here's a division where we just want to make sure that the denominator is real. I'm going to FOIL. 6 times 2 is 12. First, outside is negative 6i. Inside is negative 10i. And last is positive 5i squared. I'm going to deal with the bottom. That's 4 minus I squared. When you're multiplying a plus b times a minus b, it's a squared minus b squared. All right, so let's get those I squareds to negative 1s. So 12 minus 16i, I'll combine that. This is 5 times negative 1, so minus 5 over 4 minus negative 1. 12 minus 5 is 7. 7 minus 16i over 5. In a plus bi form is 7/5 minus 16/5 I. Okay, on this one, I think I'm going to try the least common denominator method. So I am going to, this has 2 minus I, this has 1 plus I. I'm going to multiply this first one times 1 plus I over 1 plus I. And the 5 over 1 plus I, I'm going to multiply by 2 minus I over 2 minus I. Okay, so this is 3i plus 3i squared plus 10 minus 5i. Okay, first 2 outside, 2i inside, negative 1i, and last negative I squared. Okay, we will do this. This is negative 3 here. This whole thing is positive 1 here. So, negative 3 plus 10, that's 13. 3i minus 5i is negative 2i. Okay, this is 1, add that to the 2, and I've got 3. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, that's not, this is the 1. This is negative I. 2i minus I is I, 1i. Alright, I'm going to now do what we did up here. Okay, 3 minus I. Alright. So, first, 13 times 3 is 39. Outside, that's negative 13i. Inside, that's negative 6i. And last, that is positive 2i squared. This is 9 minus I squared on the bottom. Difference of squares. What we got here? This is negative 2. 39 minus 2 is 37 minus 19i. This is plus 1. Minus negative 1 is plus 1, so it's over 10. In a plus bi form is 37 over 10 minus 19/10 I. This one, let's take I radical 6 times I radical 15 first. And then that's I squared times square root of 90, which is negative 1 times the square root of 90. I'm going to make that 9 times 10. So negative 1 times square root of 9, which is 3, times the square root of 10 is negative 3 radical 10. That's what I get on 14. I got that one on 13. All right. 15, positive 15. Okay, that's not going to work to get negative 2. Negative b. I'm going to take the quadratic formula. B squared, so negative 2 squared minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. So that's 2 plus or minus the square root of, this is 4 And that's 60. Ooh, 4 minus 60 is negative 56 over 10. 4 times 14 is 56. So that's 2 radical 14. So that's 2 plus or minus 2 radical 14I over 10, which is 2/10 plus or minus 2 radical 14 over 10I, which is 1/5 plus or minus radical 14/5 I, plus or minus there. One with plus, one with minus, 2 solutions there. Okay. 16. Doctors treated a patient at an emergency room from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. The patient's blood level L in percent can be modeled by L equals this. Okay, only makes sense for between 2 and 7, so that's what the T represents the time of day, 2 p.m., and 7 is 7 p.m. Use the model to estimate when the patient's blood oxygen level was 93%. Okay. So, it says, what does it say about L here? L in percent. So I'm going to presume that that means we're going to use 93 here. If it says in percent, we'll keep it in percent. We won't change it to 0.93. That's a different percent. All right. Negative 0.0270 t squared plus 3.59t plus 83.1. I'm going to subtract 93 from both sides. I got negative 0.0270 t squared plus 3.59t minus, what was that, 9.9? And 3.1 minus 93 is 9.9. Okay. That's equal to 0. I have just moved the 0 over here. Okay. I'm going to set this in the quadratic formula. And T is, remembering T is the time of day, negative 3.59 plus or minus the square root of 3.59 squared minus 4 times negative 0.0270, and C is negative 9.9 over 2 times negative 0.0270. Okay, 3.59 squared minus 4 times negative 0.0270. Really don't need that, do I, for that calculation? Times negative 9.9 equals. So that is 11.8189 over negative 0.0270. 0.054. I'm not going to put the zeros on anymore. Okay, I need the square root of 11.8189. This is going 2 decimals. That's how far I'll go with this rounding. Negative 3.59 plus or minus 3.44 over negative 0.054. So let's take negative 3.59 plus 3.44. Get that answer and divide it by negative 0.054. Good save. And I'm getting about 2.78. That's with, what was that with? That was with the plus. Let me go negative 3.59 minus 3.44 and divide that by negative 0.054. I get 130.18. Okay. Remember, t is between 2 and 7. So 2.78. That's getting close to 3 o'clock. But I'm going to take 0.78, that fraction, multiply it by 60 minutes per hour. So I'm going to say it's around 2:47 p.m. Okay. Now, we got a few equations to solve here. I'm going to let u equal x squared. This is using quadratic techniques. It works out nicely here. So it'll be u squared minus 7u plus 12 equals 0. Factors. U minus 3 times u minus 4 equals 0. U minus 3 equals 0, or u minus 4 equals 0. U is equal to 3, or u is equal to 4. Now, let's get it back. X squared equals 3, or x squared equals 4. If I take the square root and plus or minus on both sides, I got x equals plus or minus the square root of 3. Same here. Or square root plus or minus square root of 4 is 2, plus or minus 2. So my 4 solutions: positive square root of 3, negative square root of 3, positive 2, negative 2. 4 solutions there. Okay, this one, I'm going to multiply through by x squared. X squared, I'm going to write it out. 1 over x squared times x squared plus 8 over x times x squared plus 15 times x squared equals 0 times x squared. And those cancel. That's 1. This x cancels with one of those x's, plus 8x plus 15x squared equals 0. So 15x squared plus 8x plus 1 equals 0. Could use quadratic formula. I think this factors, because 15 is 5 times 3. So I'm going to use grouping. 15x squared plus 5x plus 3x plus 1. 5 times 3, 5 plus 3. That's where I'm getting this part here. And then I'm going to factor on that part. That is 5x times 3x plus 1 plus, and there is just 1 times 3x plus 1. Okay. 5x plus 1 times 3x plus 1 equals 0. 5x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1. 5x equals negative 1. X equals negative 1/5. 3x plus 1 equals 0. So x would be negative 1/3 if I kind of follow the same thing there. I'm looking, you're not making denominators 0, so I'm going to just stay with those two solutions. If I have this one, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. I'm going to just try to isolate the radical part. So 9 radical x equals 5 minus 2x. I'm going to square both sides, and I'll have 81x equals 25 minus 20x plus 4x squared. Subtract 81x from both sides. That's 0. 25 minus 101x plus 4x squared. I really don't have enough room there to finish. Sorry about that, guys. You guys don't have much room here either. Plus 25. Okay, let me grab a piece of scrap paper here real quick. Finish that work. Oops. Okay. Okay. Now, believe it or not, 4 times 25 is 100. If you take negative 100 times negative 1 and negative 100 plus negative 1, you get the two things you need. So I'm going to factor this one. 4x squared minus 100x minus 1x plus 25. Just trying to factor that. I'm going to factor 4x from here and here, and I have x minus 25. And I'm going to factor out negative 1 from here, and I get x minus 25 there. So I have 4x minus 1 times x minus 25 equals 0. 4x minus 1 equals 0. 4x minus 25 equals 0. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I got 4x equals 1. Divide by 4. X is 1/4. Add 25 to both sides. I got x equals 25. Does require checking. I really don't have much room, especially since we have to check these. Let's see, 2 times 1/4 plus 9 times the square root of 1/4. Does that equal 5? Now 2 times 1/4 is 1/2. Plus 9 times square root of 1/4 is 1/2. So 1/2 plus 4.5 does equal 5. So I'm staying with x equals 1/4. So Checking 25. 2 times 25 plus 9 times the square root of 25 equals 5. Okay, that's 50 plus 9 times 5 equals 5. It doesn't. That doesn't work. 50 plus 45 is not 5. 50 minus 45 is, but not. So this one is extraneous, and we will state that. Okay. 19 is done. Let's start 20 up here. Probably have to finish down here. All right. I am subtracting 4 from both sides. And I'm getting the cube root of 2x minus 9 equals negative 4. And I'm raising both sides to the third power, and I'm getting 2x minus 9 equals negative 64. And I'm adding 9 to both sides. I'm getting 2x equals negative 55. Dividing by 2, I'll get x equals negative 27.5. I feel pretty good about that one. It's a cube root, and cube roots can be negative. I'll just check this one on the calculator. 4 plus, now cube root is actually programmed on here, I think. Math, not second. See number 4 down here? Maybe not. Cube root of 2 times negative 27.5 minus 9. That's 0. That's what we needed it to be. Okay, it works. All right, this one, I am going to subtract 2 from both sides. And I've got the negative square root of 40 minus 9x equals x minus 2. I'm going to leave this square here. When I square a negative, it'll be positive. So if I just leave it there, it's just as easy as anything else. So 40 minus 9x equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. And this is one I'm going to need more room on, I think. I'm going to subtract 40 and add 9x to both sides because I want 0. I'm going to subtract 40. I'm going to add 9x. So 0 equals x squared plus 5x minus 36. Ooh, nice answer. Factors. Plus 9 minus 4. X plus 9 equals 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. X equals negative 9, or x equals 4. So I got a negative. I do need to check. With square roots, it's always a good idea to check. So it's negative 40 minus 9 times negative 9 plus 2. Checking x is negative 9. Is that going to equal negative 9? So it's negative 40. That's 121. Plus 2 is equal to negative 9. This is negative 11 plus 2 does equal negative 9. Okay, that works. Let's check 4. Negative square root of 40 minus 9 times 4 plus 2 will that equal what I'm checking for? Will that equal 4? So that's negative. 40 minus 36 is 4, plus 2 equals 4. This is negative 2 plus 2 does not equal 4. So this one is extraneous. Just make sure you're checking. All right. One more here. I'm going to add square root of 6x minus 17 to both sides. And I have 4 times the square root of x minus 3 equals 3 plus the square root of 6x minus 17. I think not dividing out, because I want to get rid of this radical. I'm going to leave the 4 with it. So it's 16, I'm squaring that, times x minus 3. That's 9, 3 squared, plus 2 times 3 is 6 times the square root of 6x minus 17, plus this squared. Square root and square just cancel out, and that's 6x minus 17. All right, let's take 16x minus 48 here. I'm going to write the 6x first. The 9 minus 17 is negative 8, and then plus 6 times square root of 6x minus 17. I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. I'm going to also add 8, so I can get 0 on this. Or no, so I can get I want to get the radical by itself. That's what I'm doing. 10x minus 40 equals 6 times square root of 6x minus 17. This is getting crazy. All right, so I'm going to square both sides. I'll worry about this 6 here later. $10x squared, that's 100x squared. 2 times 10x is 20x times negative 40 is negative 800x. And negative 40 squared is 1600. That's equal to 36 times 6x minus 17. $100x squared minus 800x plus 1600 equals 216x minus, I'm going to give in. I hope I haven't made a mistake prior to that. 36 times 17, 612. Let's subtract 216x from both sides. I'm going to add 612 to both sides. Okay. 100x squared minus 1016x plus 2212 equals 0. Mercy me. I'm curious. I'll use quadratic formula, but I want to show you something here. Let me clear this. I'm going to take 100 times 2,212. Hit enter there. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to look at the table. Second table. Okay, I forgot to do something here. Divided by X. Now I'm going to look at the table. Okay. I'm going to go to 1 in my table.
Watch live sports with no hidden fees or long-term contracts with YouTube TV. Try it free.
1,
Terms
2,
apply. Cancel anytime.
3. What I'm seeing is, will anything add up to 1,016? These are too much. These are all factors of maybe rounding on us though. Okay, there. 25, 88, 48, 28. Okay, I'm wasting a lot of time here. I think I just need to get the quadratic formula. Looking for factors like 56 times 3,950 is that what we're looking for there. 70, 31, 60. Getting a little closer. 100. Okay, that's not going to work. 112, 1975. That's not going to add up. 140, 1580 is not going to add up, but we're getting closer. $158 and 1400. That's not going to add up. 172, 1286. No. 175, 1264. I'm trying to add up to 1016. I keep getting closer to it, it feels like. $200, 1,106. No. That's 1,306. That's 1,000, what, 297. So that's not, but it's closer. It's closer all the time. 1,284. 1,229. Okay. If you've probably given up on it, me, and gone to the quadratic formula. This number look really big. I probably need to go back and look. 9. Nope. Let's see. 790. That's 1,070. Oh, looky there. 316 times 700. Was it worth it? That's the question. You're probably done with the quadratic formula if you didn't wait. 100x squared minus 316x plus 700x. Not plus, minus 700x plus 2,212